Hey YouTube, my name is Justine. I'm the Mermaid Seamstress, and today I'm going to be just hanging out with you guys and doing some sketching. I am planning 2 new mermaid tails that are hopefully going to be made over January for some tutorials for you guys. And I don't have a proper upload for you guys today because I am in the middle of finals week, and it just was too hard for me to plan a video and edit it and all of that stuff during my finals. So instead today I'm just going to be doing some sketching. Hello cat farts. Good to see you. And planning some new tails. So I will flip you guys around and show you what I've got so far, which is practically nothing. Sorry, my computer's over here. I have, oh geez, which now I can't remember. My computer's over there. I've got my colored pencils over here. I've got my sketch pad over here, and for those of you who recognize this fluke shape, it's just a possibility. I don't know yet. But for those of you just joining us, I am, just deciding on some stuff. Drawing out some new potential tail designs. So this tail is going to be and my fingers are dirty because they have pencil shavings all over them, so ignore that. This is going to be a 2-tone tail, so I'm going to be using 2 different types of fabric. I don't know where best to, yeah, exactly. So I don't know if I'll be getting this monofin yet. If I don't end up getting this monofin, I asked for it. I put it on my birthday and Christmas wish list, so we'll see. I don't know if I'll be getting it sooner or later, or if I might just make this for my mahina instead. I'm not sure, but this is the design I decided to trace out, and so yeah, we'll just go with this for now. Sorry if the camera moves around. I don't know how to set up my tripod in a way that like I could do this angle, so it'll be a little bit shaky. But one thing that's really cool about this design is it gives me the opportunity to experiment with like a cool, because usually I just do like a triangle shape like this, but I'm not really sure how well that would work with this tail. So I'm going to try something new and see how I like it. And of course all of this is like always subject to change, but oh, so you guys don't know what color this tail is going to be. Well, let me pull up. So this is, as the name suggests, it's going to be like a seafoam themed tail. I don't quite know how else to, hold on. I have some reference pictures for the fabric that I want. So these are the fabric choices that I am using for this tail. This is, whoops, this one right here in the top. These are the same fabric, it's just different shots of it. So this is a tail which is going to be kind of like seafoam, so it's a holographic spandex. Well, yeah, but you know, seafoam on a wave, I don't know. So it's a holographic spandex. The cool thing is it looks really green in this shot, but these two have the same sparkles on them. So my hope is that when this hits the sun, it'll reflect white instead of this kind of seafoamy green color. And so this will be the body of the tail, and this will be like the fluke and the details. That's my plan so far anyway. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm just trying to, and by the fluke and the details, I mean like the body of the tail, like this section here is going to be the green, and this section here is going to be the silver. and then we'll see how that changes as the design goes on. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm trying to plan out right now in this probably very boring live stream, but hey, I needed to put up something today, and I thought you guys... This is going to be a fabric tail. I don't know how to work with silicone yet. It is a goal in the future, but well, I'm glad that somebody's having fun. Yeah, my goal in the future, like way, way, way in the future, is to eventually make a silicone tail. But right now, I'm just a fabric tail maker. So we'll see how that all goes. So I think I want a kind of like this sort of design, maybe, and then have... So the thing about these tails, and when I design my fabric tails, is because I'm working with solid colored fabrics, right? So I'm working with just these two colors. So I get my shape, or I get my painting from the shapes that I choose to cut out of the fabric itself. Which makes it really hard when you're working with a monofin like this tail. Like most people would design tails where they have stripes and it's a gradient and yada yada. I don't really have the luxury of doing that. I most of the time have to have like a solid, like, unless there's a gradient in the fabric itself, I have to have a solid line and work from there. So it's a little bit of an interesting challenge with a fluke like this, because of course the thinner your fabric pieces get and the more elaborate you have to get, the more you have to kind of, it starts to get really finicky, and you can lose structural integrity. Like the more seams you add, obviously, you know, this part is going to be very, very solid, but the fluke, maybe not so much. So instead of actually starting on the fluke, I'm a little bit stumped here already. I've just started designing this tail and I'm already a little bit stumped. I'm going to work on seeing if I can come up with a design for maybe some pectoral fins, because I want to have fins here and here. Some people add like side fins that go into the side seam. I am experimenting with an idea which will allow me to do like the pectoral fins or like heel fins. I might put a heel fin on this too. So this is, for those who don't read my mind, this is like a front back view of the tail. It'll be symmetrical, I think. And this is going to be a side view of the tail. So like the dorsal fin, this is the back, and the dorsal fin would come out something like that. So and the reason why I want to do fins on this is because I want to post a tutorial on how to do fins. I'm kind of thinking like this style of pectoral fin. I don't know how much it's gonna work, but something like a sailfish, that would be really cool, or like a swordfish would be really, really awesome. Especially because it'll mirror these kind of spiky bits on the monofin. So that's kind of my outline for now. And if any of you saw my Instagram story yesterday, you'll know that I've been playing around with the idea of potentially having like reinforced, or not reinforced, but like stabilized fins on it, so that, you know, as I'm looking at the tail itself, they'll stand out. Well, here's the thing, is that, like, these are the colors. I've already purchased the fabric for this, so I had to buy the specific colors and fabric because that's what they had available, and they had it, I had got a discount on it because I bought pre-cut pieces. So I really only have enough fabric, unfortunately, to do it with the green body and the white fluke. So otherwise I would definitely like experiment with switching around the colors and stuff, but this, I'm really like trying to conserve both fabric. So this is like fabric that they cut for another person's order, then got returned as a whole piece. So yeah, I'm trying to work with the colors, the amount of fabric and the colors that I have available to me for each piece. So, you know, it could be that some of these designs will get scrapped purely because I don't have enough fabric for them, but we're gonna see. Oh, actually, you know what? If I brought the white down sort of like this is like really, really tough to see, but so the green kind of cuts across, and I have rays made out of the green. It looks really bad right now, but I promise you, I'm going for something here. Actually, wait a minute. Even if I don't do that, hold on. Okay, so restart this idea. If I have like this, and then I have a green section that comes like rays like that. So oops. Okay. So my imagination, guys, is that the fluke is mostly white and these darker parts are going to be the same green as the body. I know it's hard because you can't read my mind really, but that's what we're gonna go for, this kind of thing. If you hear crashing in the background, it's my rats having a brawl. Not a big deal. Hold on a second. I'm gonna pull up a picture really quickly of the monofin itself. Okay, so I'm looking at the Fantasy 2 monofin. And so the rays, how the rays work on the Fantasy monofin are they're more curved. So I really like the way that the rays, do you see these raised parts right here? This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about rays, like this textured part. So I kind of want to emulate that in the design of the fabric, because what's going to happen is when the fabric clings to those areas, it's going to create dimension. So if you kind of, if your design doesn't match up very much, there's a potential that you can see those rays. So there's one that comes kind of like that. There's one that comes over the top of this one and up about here. Sorry if I'm like hiding this from you guys. I don't mean to. So it's also hard because I'm working on a very small scale, but something like that. And then following this guy up. You always kind of, it's very hard to make a design that, you know what, I think this comes farther down. It's very hard to think of a design, especially for a fluke. Hi, good to see ya. Thanks for the hearts. Yeah, for those of you just joining me, I'm working on some designs for future tales. And I'm working, hopefully I will get to work with the Fantasy 2 monofin. I'm not positive on that yet. So it may be that this design will have to be modified to fit my Mahina instead, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed and I'm going ahead and designing it for this fin anyway. I don't like the way that looks. How does it actually go? Oh, okay, I see. I see what I did there. So this has to go more like, has to break off earlier. And then it has like this sort of shape to it. So when I design a tail, I learned pretty early on in my process of designing tails, you really have to let the monofin, like, it's very hard to work against the design of the monofin. And by that I mean, like, there are definitely ways that you can modify your monofin and add like little changes, but thanks. I don't know how to say your name. Is it Chiaki Naomi? Is that correct? Anyway, but thank you. Yeah, this is actually traced. This is a trace, like a scaled down version of my measurements. And Namani. Okay. Chiaki Namani. Okay. And so this is actually just a scaled down version of my measurements, and then I traced the tail. So thank you for your faith in my drawing abilities. They are slightly misplaced. So when you're working with monofins, it's really hard to edit the actual shape of the monofin too much. So you have to kind of start and let the shape of the monofin work for you. And oftentimes monofins will have like patterning or rays built into them. Like most monofins you get definitely have some kind of pre-made pattern. And I like to take that as inspiration for how to make the shape. Okay, this is going to be the hard part because I'm right-handed. It's really hard for me to do the right sides of things. But it's really hard to make the shapes of the monofins work for you. And that can be so frustrating. And so I just start, I literally start out with the inspiration being from the monofin itself, because obviously, like, somebody designed the monofins with a much firmer grasp on graphic design than I have. Obviously, I know what I want my tails to look like, but like somebody clearly thought about it already. So I try to draw inspiration from the patterns. Like if one tail, I think of the Mahina. The Mahina has like a really interesting patterning on the fluke, different from what you would typically see. You know, the way the fluke is, Mahina, sorry, I'm trying to look it up for you guys. On my Pinterest, and it is, there it is. So you see the rays here on the Mahina Murfin. So you can definitely take those rays differently. It's just, those rays were designed with the specific shape of that monofin in mind. And so a lot of times your lines will look, or at least in my experience, I have a really hard time like starting from a shape that's too far away from the natural shape of the monofin, like of the design of the monofin itself. So for this one, I tried to start out doing these weird, really strange rays that just didn't fit the shape of the monofin at all. And I was like, what am I doing? But I figured it out now. I think, maybe. I might have just made a mistake on this one, but anyway. That's fine. That's what we're going for here. It's just a test. It's just a sample. Yeah, and somehow, like, this, I don't know. I don't know, guys. We're hitting an edge here, guys. Oh, I see what's wrong with this one. Okay. There we go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and try to add some color to this and see how that works. So, I don't like this. I don't like it. Oh, there we go. Okay. By the way, if you guys have any questions, like, please feel free to ask them, because otherwise I'm just going to be blammering on and on and on about, like, stuff that you might not care about. So please, please, please feel free to ask me any questions you have. I will try to get to them when I see them pop up. Also, I'm not using the best markers for this. I don't know why. These are the only colorful markers I have right now. I don't know. I had colored pencils, but I don't know where they went. So like this sort of thing. So my plan is for these to be kind of like the rays of a fish. So these will match. The body of the tail is this color. You can definitely see that. That definitely shows up. You know, this is how I design my tails, guys. Like very, very basic colors, very, very basic patterns. This is this thing. If I pull this off, this is going to be an adventure for me, because this is like a very complex tail. Oh my goodness. Probably what I'd do in this case is I would sew the body as one piece and then like put a seam here, and then I'd put these on top of it somehow. I'm not quite sure how that would work, but I don't want to put like, I don't want to necessarily put these like on top of nothing. I want, like, obviously they'll be on top of the fabric, but like I'll have a solid piece of fabric. Like I won't have this piece of fabric and this piece of fabric and this like in the white spaces. That just doesn't make sense with how delicate these rays are going to have to be. So I need them to like be stuck down on top of something as opposed to being pieced together, if that makes any sense. Because otherwise, like, then there would be a different seam, like a tension holding seam in every single one of these add-ons. And I don't think that that makes a lot of sense. It's very hard to do that in this kind of style of tail. Thank you. So this is how I de-stress, guys. I de-stress by stressing myself out about other things. No, just kidding. Yeah, you can see how they're not symmetrical right now. So what I'd do probably, like when I was designing it, is I'd design it on one side and then I'd flip it and I'd trace it onto the other side so that it's actually symmetrical. Like I'd fold, like I'd cut out this piece of the pattern and I'd fold it in half and then cut it, because like this is just wonky. This is wonky. So I wouldn't do it this way for the actual thing, but I have to do it this way because that's how paper and pencils work, unfortunately, guys. So I don't know, I'm thinking a lot about I don't, like, these are similar shapes, but I don't really think that this is the right dorsal fin. I don't really think it's the right dorsal fin, you guys. How long has this video been, by the way? Oh, it's almost half an hour. Okay, that's fine. I don't want to go too long with this, but anyway. All right, we're gonna try this again. All right. So, actually, you know what? I have an even better idea. Let's give me more room on the paper, and we'll, instead of calling this like a side view of the tail, we'll just call this line is tail back, and then the dorsal fin will come out from here. That'll be better, because like this is a constrained amount of space. So this monofin and the mahina are both 32 inches wide. So if we're using this for scale, I want my dorsal fin to be no bigger than about 10 inches, because otherwise it just gets like unwieldy. So I'm just gonna draw a line like this as my marker to make sure that I don't go over 10 inches, because then I'm just like going around with this giant dorsal fin that just doesn't make any sense in the entire world. Neither does this shape, but you know what? It's a sketch, you guys. I have to remind myself it's just a sketch. We're just sketching here. Okay. So these have like, the shape of the Fantasy 2 is like super rounded at the ends in these rays, but it's like very pointed in these rays. So something between that would be like having a long one that comes down like that, maybe, and then underneath it having this be like an arc. Like it's a very, whoops, you can't even see that, sorry guys, like a wave shape. Again, I have to experiment more and see how much structure the style of fabric and the style of fins that I want to make have. Like this isn't like a silicone fin. These might not stand up to the weight of how I want to do them. But I'm thinking like something like this, where these are then green, like that. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? All right. All right. Well, so this dorsal fin, I think I might make it a little bit longer, but it's hard to do with this like scale. I want it to be short. Like I don't want it to go past my knees. I just want it to be like from my butt to like halfway down to my knee. Like not even that short, but like almost to my knees, not quite to my knees. So just something like that. And so this is going to be like 10 inches across, hopefully. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. And then I want, in addition to that, I kind of want pectoral fins as well. So I don't know how I do those. I think, let's see. Something. Ooh, actually, what if they were shaped like this, like very, whoops, that's way too big. But like a lot differently. Here's the other thing is I have to look at like fish that have that type of, actually, you know who has that type of tail? It's very similar to a, like a leafy sea dragon. Sea horse or sea dragon. Sea dragons. Yeah, so this is what I'm kind of thinking of when I say a leafy sea dragon. Something super cool like that. So maybe I want these to be like more like this. Like a, that looks kind of weird, but like having, I don't know, that just looks wrong. I don't like that. Like a weedy sea dragon. Or maybe actually it does have, maybe I do side fins then. Do I do side fins? Because if a side fin would look something like I'd have like this. And then we'd have like the other color like that. I don't like that as much. I think, let me try this shape again, but like in the pectoral fin area. That would look cool. So having like a long piece like this, and then how do those, I'm trying to, let me see if I can expand this picture. Whoa. Okay, there we go. So I'm on Pinterest, by the way, guys. It's a great place to get references. So this is like, it's kind of like a butterfly wing. Okay, I see how I want to do it. I don't want to do it like this. I want to do it facing the other way. So it'll be like that. And then same thing, symmetric. Whoa, oh gosh. Here goes symmetry, guys. Good enough. Good enough. And then something like what they've got, which is like, oh gosh, like ripped like this. Something like that. All right, so this is obviously a work in progress. My phone battery is about to die, and I'm a little bit stumped on this. I need to gain, I realized I jumped into this with just very little more than a color scheme, but these are some ideas that I have for this tail. So far, if you're watching this in the future, please remember to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I know that it's not a super structured video, but I enjoy hanging out with you guys, and I really appreciate the company when designing these tails. If you are looking forward to seeing this tail in the future, I'm definitely, provided it gets made, which I'm 99.9% sure it will be made, look for it in my upcoming videos. It'll probably be done closer to the end of January of 2019. That's interesting to say. But in the meantime, safe swimming. I will see you all in my next video. Bye, fish friends.